So this is going to be Sadie's day number 2.
Yep.
And is there anything that we should be talking about before we do that?
No, I don't think so. So starting, it was a Thursday at 1:15. I got my first beep for that session, and I had no thoughts in my head at all. But my eyes were pointed at the cement, the sunny, like a sun patch on the cement. I was just walking.
So when you say your eyes were pointed at the cement, does that mean as a matter of the physical reality, my eyes were pointed there, but I wasn't really seeing it, or I was seeing this sun patch on the cement?
I feel like I was seeing it. Yeah, I was seeing the sun patch on the cement, but I wasn't like, it didn't feel like I certainly wasn't thinking anything about it. I was just seeing it.
Okay. So seeing it in your experience, but not commenting on it in any way.
Right.
Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, and it was interesting because, like, it was really just the splotch of light. Like, at that moment, I really don't feel like I was seeing, like, much else, just that little sort of amoeba-shaped splotch.
Okay. And so it sounds like you were, in some way, sort of intent on that. You were captured by that visual thing at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you started by saying, I'm not thinking about anything, you didn't mean I didn't have any experience. You meant I didn't have any cognitive analytical experience. What I had was this perceptual experience.
Yeah.
Okay. And visually, Sadie is frozen for me. Is she frozen for you too, Ellie?
No.
All right. Well, then we'll just carry on here and hope for the best as far as the recording is concerned.
Yeah.
I could also record just audio if that would be helpful.
Might be worthwhile.
Okay, I'll do that.
Just as a triple backup.
Yeah.
Given that the first 2 are at least somewhat flaky.
Yeah, I got it.
Might be worth doing. So, is there anything else in your experience about beep number 1 other than I'm seeing this amoeba-shaped blotch of sunshine on the pavement?
Yep.
Okay. And I guess I should ask, I understand that I'm sort of into the bright sunshininess, not the on the concretiness of it. Is that correct?
I don't know if I split that hair.
Okay, that's fine. I'm perfectly capable of answering questions which are not possible to answer. All right, then I think I'm good.
Yeah, number 2.
Oh, yes. Okay, you don't have this. 135. I was thinking a hypothetical dialogue in my brain that I might have with an editor about a story. And I'm just setting it up. Just both voices were my own. Both were faster than talking. In real life, this exchange would happen in writing and in email. The whole phrase was, I'm told the mom supports it. And I was sort of simultaneously assessing whether or not it was true. And right before the beep went off, I just thought that and I'm told the mom supports it. But I was like, was I told the mom supported it? Like, just asking myself in a vague way, but not in words while I was saying that.
Okay. So at the moment of the beep, how many voices are present?
At the moment of the beep, it was just one voice. It was just my voice.
Mm-hmm. But it's within a dialogue, or...
You know, I called it a dialogue, but it was all in my voice, but it had a back and forth quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other person is the editor. It's just your voice as editor? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, it would never be anyone's voice. Like, I would just be reading an email from her. Like, I was anticipating a question from her and figuring out how I would answer it. And then asking myself if that answer was actually correct.
Uh-huh. So in reality, you're going to write these things in an email, but for whatever reason, in your experience, they are present in a voice as if spoken.
Yeah, in my voice.
And at the moment of the beep, it's your turn to speak or whatever in this back and forth, and you're saying, I'm told the mom supports it.
Yeah.
And the beep interrupts at the end of that? Or
Yeah, the beep was right after I got to the it.
Okay. And is the whole phrase present, or just the word it, or some chunk of it or something?
It was definitely, it definitely happened temporally, right? So, it just depends on how you define it, how far in front of the beep. But, it was, I definitely was thought, I'm told the mom supports it. Beep! So, that was
Well, and that's tricky, right? Because in the physical world, yes, it happens temporally, but I think in the experiential world, it's possible that even though all of that can't be, simultaneously present, it is in experience. It's, well, my experience is of the whole phrase, right, even though certainly some time would have had to transpire to get from beginning to end.
Yeah. No, it was
Alec isn't trying to talk you into that. I think she's just stating that as a possibility.
That it is
yes,
possible.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I definitely had thoughts that were a whole phrase at once, but that was just me. It was almost like I was composing it while I was typing it, but I wasn't typing it.
Mm. So definitely it sounds like the word it is there, and am I hearing maybe the rest, or I'm
the
not
rest
totally
is
sure.
not, I mean, it's gone by the time it's disappeared.
Okay. So it's just the word it left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it is, I understand this is internal. I'm not saying this out loud.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to say whether it feels spoken or heard? Some people make that distinction. They say, it really seems like I was innerly hearing this, or it really seems like I was innerly speaking. I'm the producer of the words.
I was definitely the producer of the words. I had that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not the sensual, what's the word? I didn't have the sensual sense making it down, but I knew that I was producing the thought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that helps.
And by sensual sense, do you mean the sensations on my lips of speaking, or what are you referring to?
Yeah, that is what I was referring to, I think. Yeah, it was just in my head.
Okay. So I experience myself as if speaking, but I don't have any of the physicality of if I were really speaking out loud.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's really just like speaking out loud, but it's in my head.
Yeah. Well, just I guess it's pretty similar in that it just kind of emerges from me at that point. When I talk, I don't really think before I kind of, well, anyway, I don't know if I answered that. It's not just like speaking, obviously, but it's hard to sort of define qualitatively what I mean.
Okay. And you seemed pretty sure about, I would call this speaking, not hearing.
Just because I'm producing it in my head. So hearing seems sort of passive, and I assume that would feel like you were observing a thought versus producing a thought.
Okay. I think that sounds fair. I don't know. Okay.
So can I ask a couple more questions about that, which maybe you've already asked, because I've been having a little bit of audio and visual stuff here. So I'm understanding you're producing the words, and I'm understanding that there's a voice involved. This is my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my voice as if spoken. It's not just as if I am producing words, but I'm producing them in the manner of speaking.
Yeah. It does have an audio quality to it.
Okay. And that is more like I'm producing them spoken words as opposed to producing heard words.
Yeah.
I suppose that would be possible. Okay.
Okay. And then I understand that at the same time, there was some like analysis or process about, is this even really true?
Yeah. As I was saying that whole phrase, and also simultaneously when I was at the end of the phrase, at the it, I was like, I knew that I was asking myself if that was true or not. Like, or I knew I was like trying to assess whether it was true or not, but I didn't, it was like a very abstract knowing. Like I didn't, I could just metaphorically feel my head sort of churning.
Mm-hmm. Were there words present in that thinking?
No.
Okay. So this isn't like, is that right? Quote. It's just more the idea of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe if I hadn't been interrupted by the beep, that could have been the next thing I said to myself, though. You know what I mean? Like maybe that was queuing up.
Okay. And does this seem, is it fair to call this like a thought process? Is this a cognitive, analytical kind of thing?
Yeah. I think both aspects are sort of different, are analytical. Like I was sort of trying to compose an email in advance while simultaneously like assessing whether or not it was good or a good email or not.
Mm-hmm. And between the two, the back and forth with your editor and the assessing, is this true?
Yeah.
Is one of those more prominent, more powerful at the moment of the beep?
Yeah, I would say it's like maybe 80% my own voice, and 20% the sort of feeling of thinking.
Okay. Okay, can I just kind of summarize what I've heard to see if I got it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in this internal back and forth, imagining what I might say to my editor. And at the moment of the beep, it's me speaking for me, and I'm innerly saying, I'm told the mom supports it. The beep interrupts me at it, and really the rest of the sentence is gone. It's just the word it left at the moment. And at the same time, I'm wondering, assessing, analyzing whether that's really true, and that is a unworded kind of thoughty process.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm good for this one.
And I guess I have one more detail about the voice. I think you said that the voice was softer than it would have been if you had spoken out loud.
Oh, yes. It was softer. Definitely softer.
And by sometimes when people say softer, they mean, well, it's in my imagination. The words aren't coming out of my mouth. Do you mean that, or do you mean that somehow it is like a sotto voce kind of a voice?
Yeah, it was very like, it was like if I was trying to tell a secret. Not really. I mean, it's like if it was like a sotto voce.
So you mean that it was experienced as being soft?
Soft, yeah. My experience was that it was pretty soft.
But not as if you were trying to say, hey, man.
But not a whisper.
All right, then I think I'm good.
Okay.
Number 3.
Okay, I was thinking, let's see. The whole phrase would have been, it's just too big a group, but right before the beep, I was on the word two. I had the shape of the T in my mouth for two, really, really faintly. And yeah, I can tell you more context, but that's probably all you want to know. But yeah, it was weird. Okay, actually, I'll tell you what I wrote. Okay, this was part of an imagined dialogue with the person I was writing about that then merged with what I imagined a mayor, our DC mayor, would say with regard if she decided to exclude obese people from the medical conditions, the first set that for vaccination.
Okay. So this is
context.
This is
good. I said it's quite a context.
I didn't know if you guys cared or not, but I just thought I'd tell you anyway.
It's a complicated world that we live in, I'll say that. So about your inner experience, is this a dialogue in the sense that you were in the process of saying it's just too big a group, And then somebody else was going to respond?
Yeah, like I was the mayor, I think, at that point. It was in my voice, though, and it was almost like I was the mayor's press secretary or something, I think. I don't know. But it was in my voice, and I was pretending to be the mayor for some reason, and I'm like, it's just too big a group. Wait, was that what was the question again?
Well, we're getting there.
My voice, though.
So this is, I'm gathering, somewhat similar to the previous beep in the sense that it's a dialogue where both halves of the dialogue are in your own voice.
Yeah, exactly.
And at this particular moment, you were in the part of the dialogue that wasn't you.
Yep.
And would the other part of the dialogue have been you?
Yes, I cast myself in all the parts.
Okay. So this is Sadie as the spokesperson speaking.
Yeah.
And a moment earlier or a moment later or something, it would have been Sadie as Sadie speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm in the middle of this sentence. It's just too big a group.
Yeah, I'm just on 2.
And I almost feel the T of 2 on my lips and tongue. Is that, did I understand that right?
Exactly, yeah.
Lips and tongue?
I can't remember, but I do remember that it felt like more like like I didn't actually think the muscle had fired, but it felt like what happens right before like you make a shape. Not that I was going to, but that's kind of just, I didn't think, like if you actually like looked in my mouth at that point, I don't think you would have seen the tuh. Like I think I was just almost preparing to make the tiniest little tuh.
So it was like like your muscles are involved with this saying, but they're not as big time involved as it would have if you had been speaking them out loud.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was like the tiniest little
okay,
version of that.
And yet there's enough of it to be sensed. I feel it.
Yeah, I did.
And that makes that different from the previous beep. Is that correct?
Yes.
That this one is more mouthy articulated than the previous one was.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything else in your experience at this moment?
Nope.
So I understand at least in part the context, and so is there anything visual about the context or anything?
Nah.
Okay, so I don't need to know that because I'm speaking to myself and I know what I'm talking about. And you weren't exactly sure, if I understood you correctly, what person you were portraying, whether it was the press secretary or the mayor herself or some other spokesperson representing the mayor. Is that right?
It's even weirder than that, actually. I definitely was like sort of advising the mayor on what she should say, but
Sadie is advising the mayor.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Okay.
But I also was like having a hypothetical exchange with my editor too. So I was me talking to an editor and then me talking to the mayor at the same time, kind of.
In this sample are we talking about?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but that is the experience I had.
So somewhere about beep 3, the one we're talking about now.
Yeah.
We haven't yet talked about the fact that there's an editor involved somehow in this conversation as well. Is that right?
We have not. I think I mentioned it at the very beginning.
You did. You mentioned something at the outset, yeah.
That I feel like like there's like sort of a fading away editor who I'm talking to and a fading in mayor. But that is completely metaphorical.
And are you saying the same thing to
both of them? Yeah.
Like this comment here, it's just too big a group.
Yeah.
Is that, who's the audience of that comment? Is that for
like 90%? I'm trying to. I mean, 90% it's advising the mayor. Not that I have a sense that she's there or anything, but 90% it's like the audience is me for both of them, but in the dialogue, in the world of the two sort of simultaneous dialogues, it's like the mayor one, it feels much more heavily weighted, and the editor one is not as heavily weighted. And I think that I think what had happened was I was still having that dialogue with my editor from the previous time, but then it was sort of transitioning into a different story for some reason.
So there's too many Sadies involved in this for me to keep track. So there's the Sadie as Sadie, and there's the Sadie as the spokesperson.
Well, it's more like there's really just me talking to myself.
I understand, and they're both of you talking to yourself, but you're talking to yourself in two different roles.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, I felt like I was still in the role of me making that hypothetical email to my editor. But for some reason, it was much more strongly that I was sort of talking as the mayor. Or I was just thinking of what the mayor should say what she should say if she had to say whatever.
So it's too big a group is your proposal for what the mayor should say in this situation.
Yeah, but it's not really that concrete. That was the concept. It was in those words, but I wasn't actually composing a PR release for her or something. I was just she would say it's just too big a group.
And is that in a response to something that Sadie had said, like an alternative suggestion, and she's saying, well, I can't do that, it's too big a group?
Yes, but not a very articulated question. It was just the idea that she would get criticism. I had this sense that she would get criticism if she took obesity out of the group of medical conditions. And then I was thinking she would say, it's just too big a group.
And was the criticism actually coming from Sadie in that this is a back and forth? Before the beep, Sadie had said something, or are you just imagining more abstractly, what if she were to get criticism? Here's what she might say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was definitely abstractly.
So it's not that Sadie said something to the mayor and then mayor says it's just too big a group. It's you're musing about the criticism she might get and how she might respond?
Yeah, exactly.
So does that mean that I experienced this as a dialogue, but maybe there hasn't actually been a previous turn in the dialogue? Seems like I'm engaged in a dialogue, but it's not like there was somebody else, namely me, who said something before this.
Yeah, there wasn't someone that said something before that, but it was at least not for the mayor part of the dialogue.
So I'm both engaged in a dialogue and not engaged in a dialogue at the same time in some way, which is perfectly legitimate. I'm not trying to suggest that this is not possible.
Yeah.
So it seems like I'm engaged in a dialogue, but it doesn't seem like if I had rolled the clock back a second, there would have been somebody else speaking.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the presence of the editor, somehow the editor seems like she is part of this dialogue.
Yes, yeah, but it was I had this sense that I was continuing a dialogue with her.
But what I'm saying isn't really relevant to her, it's relevant to the other guy.
Yeah, it's totally not relevant to her.
The other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the imagination is a wonderful thing. It does not have to conform to reality. That's what makes it imagination.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in this particular beep which do not conform to reality, and then
yeah, totally. It's more like a dreamlike logic.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm good.
Yeah, totally interesting. Number 4.
Okay. I was like thinking of the "s" sound, but I wasn't like making it in my mouth. And I think that it was beginning the word "some," but when I got interrupted, I like literally forgot what word I was thinking of. I had the sense that I was working something out with a little churn in my brain, but it was just like a feeling.
Okay.
Would you say that last sentence again?
I had the sense that I was working something out, like I was thinking about something, but I don't know anything more specific than that. It was just a feeling or a hunch.
And so in your experience at the moment of the beep is the "s" sound and the working something out? Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
And are those things related? Is the "s" part of whatever I'm working out?
I did not write. I don't think I knew. I don't think I was. I don't think I knew.
Okay. And when you said "s," like you mean like S, like the sound that S makes?
Sound of an S.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you said I'm thinking the "s" sound. How is that thinking present?
I'm definitely generating it, but it's nothing like hearing.
Okay.
And yeah, I just know that I'm thinking of a "s" sound.
And generating it in a voice?
I don't think so.
Okay. So somehow the "s," well, is there audio?
No.
Okay. So I'm generating a sound, but I don't say the sound or even hear the sound.
Right.
And is this one about the physicality, about the...
No, it wasn't. I wasn't
teeth
making it with my mouth at all. I just like had that sound in my head.
Okay. And at the moment of the beep, do you apprehend "s" as the beginning of some word or longer sound, or is it really just this isolated? It's only "s" to me.
No,
it's
it was
not even the beginning of something.
It was the beginning of the word "some."
Okay.
SOME, some?
Yeah.
But I take it your experience is not of "some."
No, it's just the S.
It's just "s."
Or maybe, yeah, the first part of the word.
Okay. And so had the beep not interrupted, it would have been "some," but the beep interrupted, it was just "s."
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I'm not sure that I understood that. So do you mean that I was somehow thinking the word "some," and the beep caught me early enough in it that I didn't get to the part of "some"? Or do you mean I was somehow thinking this "s" sound, and later on I might have gotten the sound, and then it would have been "some," but at the moment I was just into the "s" part of it?
I think both of those things are true. Like I was just thinking of the "s" part of "some," but I knew where I was going.
So this isn't just an abstract "s," this is a "some," but I haven't yet thought the part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I am working something out.
Yeah.
Which you said is like a churn in my brain. It's just a feeling.
Yeah.
How do you experience that?
You know, it's just it's just knowing that I'm thinking, really. Though I mean, at that time, it was just knowing that I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. So churn in my brain is a metaphor.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. So I experience myself as thinking, pondering, something like that.
Yeah.
And
is it? Go ahead. Is it any more specific than that? I'm thinking about something, or I'm working out X.
If I didn't write it down. Oh, but the thinking, I definitely didn't yeah. I don't think so. Or I would have written it down.
Okay.
So that means at the moment of the beep, as best I can recall from here, at the moment of the beep, I somehow recognize myself as thinking, but I don't know the topic at all of what I was thinking about. Could have been the tariffs on Boeing, or it could have been what the mayor should have said about fat people, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have any idea at all of the topic.
No.
And I've still got audio difficulties here. I noticed my mind turning or churning?
Yeah, but that was entirely a metaphor. I definitely didn't feel that anyway. I just knew it was happening.
And so it doesn't much matter whether you use T with turning or CH with churning. That's such a metaphor. It's just that there was something going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'm good. Me
too. Number 5.
All right. I was spelling the word released while tapping it on my phone. I didn't write down where I was on the word. But I was also thinking vaguely about checking the vaccine website. And again, I didn't have a direct experience of the thought. I just knew that's what I was thinking about.
And is spelling the word relief, is that in your experience? I'm actually somehow cognizing or thinking or whatever about that, spelling it?
Yes, I was literally spelling it it was RELEASED. It was because I was also typing it into the phone at the same time.
And with your thumb kind of typing?
Yeah, except with my finger.
Okay.
Do you type with your thumbs? That's a young person thing to do.
I try to learn that because I try to be a young person, but it's.
Do you do it? I should do that. I'll try.
It's a challenge on both ends. So is one of those experiences more central to your inner experience, either the released portion or the vaguely thinking about the website?
Yeah, I was. The letters of the word released were very much at the forefront of my mind.
And these letters, are there one after another?
They are very much one after another.
And how are they there?
Well, I don't know.
So they're as letters, one after another.
Yeah.
And is a voice involved?
No. At
So
least I can't tell you whose voice it would be. I didn't have any. Yeah, I don't think there's a voice.
So the letters are thought in some way that does not involve a voice.
Yes.
And does that mean it also does not involve a speaking, and it does not involve a hearing?
Yeah, none of that really.
Okay. So when I say I don't know how they're present, actually I know quite a bit about how they're present. They're not in a voice, they're not spoken, they're not heard. It's just that what's left is a little hard to fathom, I guess. So they are individually thought letters, individually encountered letters somehow.
Yeah.
But not spoken.
Yeah.
And they are encountered one after another. It's not like I got all the letters all at once. It's like I got first the R and then the E and then the L and whatever.
Yeah. And I was typing them as I thought of each letter. So I might have been in the middle of that word and forgot to letter I was beeped on.
Okay.
Or it might have been right after I finished it. I don't know.
And do you have is part of your experience the typing, or does that seem like sort of automatically following the letters?
It's definitely part of my experience because I'm looking at the keyboard and, directing my finger to where to put it. And actually, well, yeah, it's definitely in my experience. Like, I'm looking and targeting little keys, little tiny keys.
Okay. So I'm not disbelieving that, but I would comment along the way here that it is quite possible to look at something quite specifically and have that not be in your experience at all.
Well, then I guess.
So what I'm saying is that you said because I was doing it, that.
Yeah, I actually don't know. You're right. I don't know.
Okay. So this mini lecture here is just about saying let's not just assume that we must be.
Yeah.
It seems like a natural thing that if my eyes are doing it and my hands are making these gestures towards these little tiny things, well,
yeah.
It's in my experience, but that's really not true.
No.
I think we can do all kinds of skilled things without experiencing it. We drive while engaged in a conversation with our friend or whatever, and get to the next town and never realize we got there. And obviously, we were doing a highly skilled maneuvers while we were doing it. So.
Yeah.
So, are you happy with the released portion, Alec?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's I'm vaguely checking the vaccine website.
Yeah, I was vaguely thinking about checking the vaccine website, but that was not like experienced. That's all. That was like not experienced as a sentence or something. Like it was just sort of amorphously in my head.
And so does vaguely mean not clear, or does vaguely mean it's just not in words, and so I have a hard time articulating it?
Right. It's not in words, but it's also a small amount of my experience at that moment.
Okay. So some part of my experience is thinking that I should check the vaccine website.
Yeah.
And is it I should check? Is that the gist here?
It is actually a couple things at once. Like, it's not just that I should check the vaccine website, but it was also like what I was looking for if I checked the vaccine website.
And by what you're looking for, what do you mean?
I don't know. Like, I think
not necessarily visual, like I'm looking for the blue button.
Oh yeah, not visual. Like it was almost like I was like, why would I check? I should check the website. What would I be looking for at the same time? Like it should have been in that order, but it wasn't.
And does this seem like a thinky kind of a deal? Is this a cognitive?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm visualizing vaguely the website. This is like I'm cognizing about.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's fairly complex in the sense that I should check the website and this is what I'm going to check, even though it's not specified exactly what it is that I'm going to check.
Yeah.
Okay. And this whole thing is substantially less salient than the realized portion.
Yeah.
Did we give a number to that? It's like 60-40 or 90-10 or?
It was definitely like, I don't know. Let's see. I feel like it was like 80-20 again.
Okay. Then I think I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Number 6.
Okay, I was so excited to tell you guys about this. I was hearing the Brandenburg Concerto No. 2, the first movement. I was right at the recorder solo. I know what beat. I was at the 5th beat of the recorder solo. And that was like the end of the phrase. And that was the one that goes, do 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 do, and that's where I was at, was the dum when it beeped.
Mm-hmm. So what were you listening to again? It cut out right as you said that. You said I'm hearing some.
It was a Brandenburg Concerto No. 2, the first movement.
Okay.
And are you saying Brandenburg as in Bach's Brandenburg Concertos?
Yeah.
Okay. You cut out again.
Yeah, I know it doesn't want me to hear that.
Skype doesn't want us to think about Bach, I guess.
Okay, and so I think I finally got what we're listening to and where we're at. And what exactly is in your experience?
It's just like the sort of hollow sound of like a period recorder, and I'm playing that note at the end of the phrase.
And so is your experience of hearing the sound and it happens to be sort of hollow, or I'm sort of paying attention to or noticing the hollowness of the sound?
No, I'm not really paying attention at all. I just hear it.
Mm-hmm. So that's I just hear it and it happens to have these qualities. I'm not picking them out. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not picking them out.
So I missed in the breaking up. Is this happening in real life? The actual sound is coming out of a speaker somewhere?
No, but that's.
Oh, I thought that.
No. It was just playing in my head, like a little internal radio station.
Okay.
Okay, well that changes things for me.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's
why the down
us, because you just take it for granted. I just thought for sure we're.
I think it's a penalty of Skype, and it's not Skype's problem. It's a penalty of this kind of communication. We wouldn't make that kind of a mistake, I don't think, if we were with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit is lost, isn't it? Okay, so this is playing in my head.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm at the 5th beat. It's a dumb sound or something.
It's. I just had to give it a syllable, so I could sing it for you. But it's the 5th beat of the recorder solo, and it's da 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 dum, and that was the last note. That right before the beep.
And would you say I'm hearing that? I'm singing that, making that sound?
Hearing it.
Okay.
And have you heard this from the beginning of the movement?
Yes. And I honestly think I was probably heard the previous movement before that too.
And as best you can say, does it seem accurate?
Yeah, it seems totally
really like a radio playing in your head.
I pulled it up on my phone, the version I thought I was thinking about, and it was totally right. I mean, my husband's right here, and he would attest to the fact that I listened to this version of the Brandenburg Concertos a lot.
Cool. I was just going to ask that. I was like, okay, now I have to know. Do you know this well, or is this just an amazing quirk?
I can attest to the fact that she has a fantastic musical memory and can pull out details from memory.
Okay. Is there anything else in your experience? I mean, including anything in the external world, anything you're doing?
No, I'm walking at that moment, but it was just automatic walking.
Okay.
Inside walking, outside walking?
Outdoors.
And like on a little hike or?
No, I was crossing a concrete plaza.
Okay. And so you said that you maybe heard the previous movement, the whole thing?
Yeah, I think I did. I'm not sure though. But then after the beep, I had to start over with that movement.
Okay. So the experience at the moment is I'm hearing the beginning of the second movement as if I had already heard the beginning of the whole of the first movement.
Yeah.
And whether I actually did hear the whole of the first movement, that's a different deal. But it seems like I'm hearing the second movement following the first movement.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say they hear music in their head, and it's just sort of a backgroundy kind of a thing, and they're not really paying attention to it. Is this a backgroundy thing for you, or are you sort of listening to it purposefully?
I wasn't listening to it purposely, but it was definitely pretty salient.
Okay. And some people, when they hear music, they say it's repetitive. Like I've been hearing this over and over and over again. Is that?
I mean, no, it wasn't repetitive. That was the first time that day I was listening to that piece.
So I'm semi-intently listening because for whatever reason I'm sort of interested in this piece so I'm going to play it for myself.
Yeah.
And am I listening particularly to the recorder, or is it that the recorder happens to be the primary instrument being played right now?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I guess I don't know the score, but I think it was only the recorder playing at that moment. So I wasn't listening for the recorder like the whole time. That's what was playing.
And does that mean, and I can't remember how this piece goes that accurately. So does that mean that the rest of the orchestra has stopped playing for the moment and the recorder has continued?
Yeah, I think no one's doing like basso continuo or anything. I think it's just the recorder playing.
Okay. And so it's not like you've abstracted the recorder out from it. It's that Bach wanted you to hear only a recorder at this time, and so he only wrote a recorder at this time, and the orchestra is just playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm good then.
I think I'm good too. Well, is this experience similar to or different from if you had played this version on your stereo at home?
Only in that it was like it is different, and I want to say like maybe it's like it's more distant. Just not as it's like not it's. I want to say quieter, but that's not quite right.
Doesn't have as much presence?
Doesn't have as much presence, yeah.
And it is specifically this particular version of the Brandenburg Concerto that you're listening to. And which version is it? Whose version is it?
It is, and I actually had to check a few. Like I think I sang it, or like yeah, and then I checked a few to find out which version it was. And it is Academy of St. Martin's in the Fields.
Okay. And was that part of your experience?
No.
So it's not like at the moment of the beep I'm listening to St. Martin's. It's at the
later.
I'm listening. I'm just listening to this piece, and the version that I happen to be listening to happens to be the Academy of St. Martin's in the Fields version.
Yeah, which is the one I mostly listen to in real life too.
Interesting.
Okay.
I love those. Those pieces are my favorite pieces.
They are totally my favorite pieces too. As a trumpet player, the Brandenburg number 2 is always if you can play that with finesse, man, then you've arrived there somewhere.
It's very high, it sounds like.
Yes, it is. Okay, so I think we are a done deal for today. And I would like to do this again if everybody else would like to do this again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And I will leave it up to you all to figure out when that's going to be. And I will set about doing what I usually do and make a transcript, which I think I'm still working. Have I sent the first transcript? I guess I have sent the first transcript.
I think so, yeah.
You posted it. You guys didn't believe me.
Have we sent it to Sadie?
Yeah, I think so.
The first transcript?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you included it in the email about the site, I think.
Yeah. There's sort of a lot going on and I can't remember. So, but I'm planning on doing that again. Whatever it is that I did before, All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll look forward to doing this again.
Yeah.
Have a nice weekend, guys.
You too.
Thanks. See you.
Guys and gals.